with glasses. I can't think of it, but they had an NJI too. There's been I don't know if they're all related, but there's been about 4 or 5 NJIs. Big-time shot blocker. But, yeah, you look at that. But basketball is also a lot easier. You can do basketball in one season. I don't think you can turn football around in one season. I think football is much more of a commitment. And I think if Kentucky's commitment to football is going to be that high to where they're competing for SEC championships, me personally, I think the basketball is going to suffer. I think,
Okay, I can see that. I personally don't really think Kentucky's that far off right now, really. Are they?
I mean, they're there, they're competitive, but they may, they may be able to make an SEC championship game like was proposed, if some things had went their way and they'd won some different games. They could have been in the SEC title game this year, but the West was ridiculously strong, and I just think, that they may make an SEC championship game, but if you're really thinking about being competitive for SEC titles, which is what I think a majority of the rest of the conference is, then the basketball is going to have to suffer.
And it's tough to be – I mean, how good do you have to be really good in the SEC? You got to be amazing.
Oh, yeah. And
I mean, you got to be just best team in the country pretty much to just come and just dominate that league.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think, I don't think it's even an argument. What is it? 5 straight national titles, 5 straight BCS titles for SEC.
So.
I mean, they're just playing. They're playing in a different league. I mean, it's pretty much, it's Sunday football when you get there. I mean, some of the games, they're not as fun to watch as some of the games you get out of the West Coast or in the Big 12, something like that. But
Pac-10 is definitely the most offensive, I think. Most enjoyable to watch offensively. But that doesn't, doesn't hold up against a physical team. From
hey, guys, let me ask you this question. And you all talking about that kind of brought this up. What do you think putting Kentucky, if they were to change conferences and go to the ACC, wouldn't that do a lot for them in basketball as well as football? Because they're obviously not a dominant school in the SEC. Put them in the ACC for football where they can compete with most any team in the ACC at that point. And then also have them in the basketball where you play Duke and North Carolina. Those teams,
ACC's pretty weak in football, aren't they?
Well, they are, but they'd be able to compete. And
they would be able to compete.
At this point, have a chance to.
Take the Louisville concept and say, well, we have a good year. We're in the Big East, so therefore we're going to have a real good year.
Yeah.
It's a BCS conference. I don't think that'd be a bad idea.
But I think that breaks down to money, too. They probably wouldn't make as much money in the ACC as they would in the SEC.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
I wouldn't think so.
The only thing, I think there's a major issue that when you talk about that you run into, since the Duke-Carolina rivalry is such long-standing, I think they'd have a hard time letting another top dog come into the ACC basketball. It would be a hard pitch. It would be a hard pitch to come into the basketball. For a football, I think it would be amazing. I think it would be great. I think you could recruit a type of kid in the South that Kentucky isn't able to recruit, because I think, I really think Kentucky still gets, they're not getting the third-tier players, but I think the football program gets second-tier players that were going to go to other schools, that were going to go to the Alabamas, that were going to go to the Georgias. And they've been able to beat Georgia. They've been able to beat Tennessee, but they've really been able to beat everybody but Florida and Tennessee. But just not all of it together. Not all of it together cumulatively to contend for an SEC title.
Yeah, very interesting. I think Kentucky honestly is best staying in the SEC. That's probably the best thing their football program has going for them, in my opinion. Because we know, being the worst team in the SEC even, isn't that bad.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge payday.
Yeah.
A huge, huge payday.
But, I mean, I being a Louisville fan, I see the benefits of being in the Big East for the sake of football.
Oh, definitely.
So I can certainly see why it wouldn't be bad to be in the ACC for football.
Definitely, and you can look at, like my personal opinion, I will argue this till the day I die. the team that started this string, I think it was 5 years ago. Have to check my facts on here.
Florida?
Yes, the Florida.
When Tebow was a freshman.
No, I think it was the year. Yes, when Tebow was a freshman. Yes.
Who was it?
Chris Leak was the quarterback. Yeah. Year Michael Bush gets hurt.
Yeah, God. Kentucky hurt him too.
Yeah. But Louisville was drubbing them. That's what's so hard about it. But getting off on that point,
God,
I
need another shot.
I have a hard time believing anybody that if Michael Bush plays, just based on what you saw in that first half, I think he ran for almost like 200 yards, like three touchdowns, and Louisville still only lost one game. One game. If Louisville had gone undefeated, it would have been very interesting to see if Louisville had played Ohio State for the national title.
Very interesting to see if it would have happened, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it would have.
Because, and exactly, that was before the era of when a one-loss SEC team was guaranteed a national title. You know,
outside of Auburn, that 1 year with
yeah, but
Cadillac Williams and
but those were
Ronnie Brown.
Yes, but those were all three undefeated teams.
Oh, okay.
Florida, right. Remember, Florida had one loss that year. They got into the game with Ohio State. Ohio State, obviously, that was the Troy Smith, Ted Ginn era.
Yeah.
You know, very good team with Ohio State. I'm not saying that Louisville would have beat that Ohio State team, but again, like I said, that was before the era of when the SEC was guaranteed a one-loss team to get to the title. Like Urban Meyer pushed, he lobbied for them to be in the title. They got there, absolutely demolished Ohio State. They were the best team. They would have demolished Louisville. There wouldn't have been anything said about it. But, that's where you can make the point. Kentucky was in the ACC. They have that one great year. They could win a national title.
True. Yeah, yeah.
But because
you're right. I mean, that's what I meant is to be real good in the SEC, Kentucky would just have to be amazing. I mean, to make a national championship out of the SEC,
it's impossible. That's like I said,
it's not impossible, but it's pretty close to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
And real quick, before we leave on this point,
we didn't even plan on talking about this.
Yeah,
good stuff though.
We've gone a lot longer on this than
sorry,
I wanted
guys,
to.
I shouldn't have brought it up, but it was pretty interesting to me to bring that.
Matt, I love
get us off topic,
Matt,
and I apologize.
What I love is how Matt just poured me a shot, but no one else.
Well, Hank didn't say he wanted one. You just said you wanted one, so that was
because I said I need a shot after the Louisville thing.
I brought myself the bottle, so.
All right,
Cinco de Mayo.
I love you, Mexico.
But real quick,
you, Charlie
before
Sheen.
we leave on this topic, Kentucky fans, all think about this. If you're a Kentucky fan and you believe in karma, or you believe in the world rotates around energy, Kentucky basketball has won more SEC championships than all the other schools combined. There's a reason they don't win in football, in my opinion.
Karma.
And there's a reason that they wanted to pay Adolph Rupp, but they didn't want to pay Bear Bryant. And Bear Bryant went on to Alabama and did what he did.
Was Bear Bryant even Bear Bryant then, though?
Oh, yeah.
He was that good?
Well,
I mean, he was obviously the same person, but was he? He couldn't have been.
It was the 1960s. You never really know. You don't have the, it was more of, hey, Larry over there tells me this guy's really good. Well, we need to go travel, 150 miles before we even talk to this guy. That's a completely different era than what we're living in today.
Completely different.
But you have to.
Twitter bombs flying left and right. I mean, this is a crazy era we live in.
But it's
not
real.
Even safe.
It's real weird that Kentucky decided to pay Adolph Rupp, bought him a Cadillac. That's apparently the story that goes around.
And they said, Alabama, you guys can have your fucking football. We'll take our basketball.
Exactly.
And then everything just pretty much, I guess, right?
Went along.
That's how it works.
And the rest is history.
That's pretty much how it's all panned out. Moving right along after our long football discussion, which is good stuff, Football's the next, we got football before we got basketball. Moving right along, we got. I was listening to the Matt Jones interview today, which was a great interview with DeMarcus Cousins,
Big cuz.
who I gotta say is just a great interview. He is. I'm a Louisville fan. I don't really have a problem with Cousins.
No, he's
Pissed some of the Louisville fans off out there, probably, because a lot of them hate him. I don't. He elbowed or whatever he did to Swapshire. That sucks. I didn't like that at all.
But you also obviously didn't listen to the part of the interview where he did admit finally that Swapshire did in fact knee him before he ever elbowed him. That's the first time
he
he's actually
admitted
come
that.
out and
That's
said
awful big of him to admit that.
Oh yeah, and you
well,
got
everyone's been speculating the longest time.
Okay,
But
I'm not suggesting that Swapshire is an innocent angel. I'm not. It was a rough game, and I would never ever do anything to piss Cousins off. So Swapshire did anything. I mean, I'm not saying he deserved it, but it was a rough game. I don't have a problem with Cousins.
he's a brave guy. Swapshire is, that's for sure.
He is a brave guy. And that fire actually makes me, thinking about it, makes me like him a lot more. Makes me more optimistic about Louisville next season. Regardless, moving right along, the topic here is Calipari. Well, in the interview, Matt Jones said to him, Cousins, Calipari pretty much told you you're not coming back next year. And he said, yeah. Yeah, he told me I'm not coming back next year. It's not
Mr. President. This is DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah. Hey, President.
He
Hey,
didn't sound like
hey, Mr. President. It's Marcus Cousins. That's what he said. Hey, Mr. President. It's
Hey.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Real quick, local
I
note.
swear to God, that's what he
Did
said.
you know who is DeMarcus Cousins' original commitment to? Do you know that,
UAB.
Kelly or Matt? Yes, UAB and Mike Davis.
Wow.
Yep.
Mike Davis, he's famous for having just the commitments and never paying out.
Imagine how dominant he would have been on that team.
Oh yeah. And Josh Smith, just guys you have no right to get, and you just get a
The
commitment.
big USC Josh Smith?
Yeah. No.
Josh Smith, Atlanta Hawks?
Atlanta Hawks, Josh Smith.
Well, he's never going to.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Same with the Rick Pitino, Sebastian Telfair. He was never coming here. But anyway, moving along.
Speaking of Mike Davis, he's played in as many national championship games as John Calipari. He's coached in as many. Moving right along, though. Calipari here. So Cousins said, no, Calipari told me I was not coming back next year. He said, it's not an option. Cousins. He said, you're not coming back. What do you feel about that, Hank?
Well,
He told him you're not coming back next year. Move on along,
I don't know if it
DeMarcus
was that
Cousins.
direct, my own opinion. I don't know if
Did you hear the interview?
But it was live. He's put spot. He wasn't pre-interviewed. He says these things coming out of his mouth. You and I say things that come out
I
shouldn't
don't.
come out.
I don't.
He may not have meant to sound as extreme as it did.
Did you find it extreme when he said it?
I did. I actually thought it. I wrote it down as a question on the show myself.
did?
I did. Whenever I heard it, but I personally don't think it went down that way. He didn't sit there in front of him and say, "You cannot come back. You need to go."
So
I
DeMarcus
understand
Cousins is a
that
liar.
he should have gone because he was.
He
so
should have
dominant.
gone, and I would have gone. I would have. He also said in the interview he wishes he didn't go pro. Didn't he?
Yeah.
So, I mean, either he's all over the place.
Well, I don't think that was his exact words.
No,
He
not
didn't-
his
he did-
exact
he
words.
didn't. He doesn't regret anything he did, but maybe he loves Big Blue Nation so much that, he's spending a whole week here this week for Derby Week.
Which is great.
He only came here for a year.
I
and yet
reiterate,
he's spending
I like
a whole week
Cousins.
of his professional career in Kentucky, going to the Derby. He enjoys the festivities. He loves Kentucky. He loves the fans. He knows when he comes here, he's getting king treatment. Wherever he goes, people will recognize him. And some people will hate him if he's going to be in Louisville also.
As far as a player goes, I'm a fan of the NBA, and outside of Shaq, who's more physical and imposing offensively than DeMarcus Cousins?
Oh yeah,
Who is?
Yeah, he's tough. I think he's gonna be.
Who's more? I mean, think about seriously. Who's more physical than him? Can you think of anyone?
That's putting me on the spot right there. That,
Sorry,
that's a
cheap shot.
you can make, but you could make the argument for DeMarcus Cousins in the NBA to be on that level with Shaq. But Shaq is in his own ball game. I do need to throw that out there.
He's taller.
Well, I think he's